Welcome back, and we'll start with the Old Mutual results, which were solid, I suppose, but as always complex, and they confirmed they're launching a bank. Does South Africa really need another one? Well, anyway, here's CFO Casper Trosky on future growth prospects.
We still see elevated persistency in our persistency issues. So we are seeing customers lapse their policies still.
Yeah.
That has reduced, but certainly, in the earlier part of the year, we saw customers struggling to actually repay their policies. We also see elevated credit impairments in our credit book early in the year. And we've started seeing that improving now in the last 2 to 3 months.
He's a CFO, man.
He's a CFO. We were saying that I've seen better shots. You think Old Mutual would have like a lighting team and all of that sort of thing?
And a ring light, such a simple thing.
A ring light. I mean, a ring light, right? You buy it any China market. I don't know. Old Mutual results, they were solid.
Solid. I'm not convinced. But anyways, solid, we'll take that. The market thinks otherwise because it didn't. I mean, look at Trelidor. Solid results. Trading statement, market liked it. I'm not sure here if it's solid. If the day they release solid results, you'll see the market will react.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that this result was, maybe we'll categorize it as steady rather than solid.
Okay.
And I think it was only steady because they're so diversified. So Insure really pushed this period under review, and the rest was kind of meh. So I think once you start getting all of those business units firing up, I think then the market will trust that these guys can trade closer or ahead of their embedded value. But for now, they'll be at that discount.
Let's talk about the positives then, the bank.
So help me here. The banks. I got 2 thoughts on it. Firstly, if you'd noticed the advertising from Standard Bank, from FNB, from Nedbank,
Discovery,
they all want the private bankers now. They're giving up that sort of middle income to the others. But also, they've got millions of account holders who they can cross-sell to, like Discovery.
Yeah, so their business model is basically because they already have the base in the malls close to these people. They want to use that to their advantage to convert it to a place where you can come open a bank account and obviously have the ATM there. So maybe the initial cost won't be that high. I see the vision there. Cross-selling, yes, you're quite correct there. But I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be as. I mean, have you been to a Capitec bank? It's a suite. It's nice. You get treated like the only client there. Yeah, it's well lit. It's amazing. Have you seen the Old Mutual ones where you go apply for your funeral cover? It looks dull, it's very small, it's a cubicle. Yeah. So it's going to take something very, very special for them to make it as lit as Capitec, which is their competition. Currently, Capitec has more branch networks than any other bank in South Africa.
And they were going to go branch free.
Yes.
So this is not going to work. And look at what Time Bank did. They did a partnership with Boxer and Pick and Pay. It sort of worked out for them, but what's going to be the catalyst?
0
for
branches.
So what I think is super interesting is just if you go back 20, 25 years, all the banks were selling their insurance businesses.
That's what I had written here,
right?
bank assurance.
And now, it used to be bank assurance. Now, it seems as if the insurers want a bank and the banks want insurance because all the banks are going back into insurers and the insurers are now going into banks. So we just have more.
This after Old Mutual, how many years ago, said, Nedbank, bye-bye.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a bank for Sanlam. I mean, they are involved with African Rainbow Capital. If we get a bank for Momentum, if we're getting, I mean, maybe not, but it does seem as if we're going back to the bank assurance model because the cross-sell opportunities are huge.
Except it never quite worked, did it? Well, it didn't 20 years ago.
It worked back then because there were few banks. Yeah. There were 3 banks. What was it? 3 banks or 2 banks?
But it was getting too bulky. The businesses were getting too big, and then management focus is diverted. So I think maybe if it's a little bit smaller.
Maybe there'll be competition. I don't know.
Maybe banking is lighter these days. We'll find out. Meta has lots to announce on Wednesday, all around AI and their smart glasses. The Ray-Bans rather get an upgrade. Orion is their new concept AR glasses. Looks wild. All this while OpenAI wants to switch to being a for-profit business and hand CEO Sam Altman a pile of stock worth over 10 billion.
That's why I was firing everyone. His little finger.
That's because they tried to fire him. That's the thing. When you shoot for the king and you miss, expect
No,
everyone to go.
no. But even his close team now, I'm talking about the execs, not the non-execs, not the overseeing board. I'm talking about everyone's gone. There's just him and a couple of people now.
And now it will be closed AI. At the risk of making a really lame joke.
But it works, but closed AI. But I want to touch, I'm a huge fan of VR since the early 90s when it was really bad. You would swing your arm and then wait for it to actually happen on screen. I've got an Oculus. I like the idea. I mean, I love the Google Glass idea, but it didn't work. But the Ray-Bans, they knew, I mean, just using your glasses, as we both wear glasses, you don't, but using this as my interface.
I used to. I got them lasered, my eyes.
I must talk to you about that. Okay, but back to the Orion. I mean,
Yes.
it just, to me, this is an interface. And Meta, after saying it was all about their metaverse and stuff, abandoned that. Their Llama open source large language model, their glasses and
Llama
stuff.
is light years ahead everybody else.
I ran Llama on my laptop.
There you go.
It's insane.
Yep.
So I think that they said that they were going to abandon the Meta idea because they wanted people to focus on the cash generating side of the business. But they didn't actually abandon the Meta idea. They just...
The Quest is out. The
Reality
Quest 4
Labs.
or whatever is out.
They've done everything that they were setting out to do. They've spent all this money, but they just wanted the market to focus on the social media business because that's the cash generative side, and to not mark them down because of all the capex that they're putting in the metaverse. There's also a risk that none of this stuff is mass adopted, right?
Sure.
Works.
So you can't have that as your main thing. I think they made
That you get judged, that you get judged on.
Yes, and if I see the market reaction to this, I mean, it's completely different to what has been put out in the past. But I think they were up like 0.3% in aftermarket trade after.
Yeah, but I think the market had priced in a lot of what happened in that announcement, because I mean, go look at Meta, just look at what happened in the past 3 months. It's one of the top performing stocks in the Magnificent Seven, while everybody else is going sideways or down. Them and Apple are doing something very different. Not considering Apple is not really hot in the news currently.
You buying the 16 iPhone?
Well, I don't have a choice in that. My boss buys for everyone.
We need better bosses.
We need I really want one.
That's the beauty of having a small team. People just make drastic decisions that are really expensive. Not so expensive, and there's like 4 of you.
There's only one of me. That's the problem. I'm the boss. Okay, noted. Local listed property stocks have been running hard for almost a year now. Sure, off a low base, but we'll take it. The question is, how will lower rates help the sector? Old Mutual head of listed property and portfolio manager Evan Robbins shares the fundamentals of the sector.
I think the fundamentals, certainly, the market started appreciating the improvement, I think, at the end of last year. We saw probably strengthening in its own right then, and that, I think, was on the back of people looking at the situation. Things are not this bad. Things have troughed, which is a positive from things getting worse to things being stable. And now things are improving. The market does look forward. So the rate cut we had was fully anticipated. What's more important is the bond yields. That really drives the asset values of property. And those bond yields started strengthening after the election. And part of that, of course, anticipates rate cuts as well. But that's really been a driver.
If I'd said a year ago that property would be the best sector, South African Inc. property, you would have hauled me out of here and given me a stiff talking to. But he makes a great point there, which is that it's less about the rate cut, which is important. But because government yields are down, if you're searching for yield, it's back into REITs.
Yeah, so I think a year ago, if you were of the opinion that government bond yields were too high and they were going to come down, and the interest rate cycle was going to turn in your favor, which is probably something that most people thought at the time, you should have been in property. I think the concern was that the risk in property was too high because of the big exposure to office. Reversions were still negative. We were worried about pick and pay.
And refinancing.
And refinancing at these higher interest rates. So all of these things played a role. And if you're going into elections and you're looking at government bond yields, the government bonds were undervalued, but with all that heightened political risk, it was a dangerous call to make.
It was, but it's been, look, let's be clear, I didn't buy property a year ago. I bought it more than a year ago. But, it has been running. And again, it comes back to it's almost hard to find a sector, aside from PGM miners, on the JSE that's struggling. And maybe Meta.
Oh, shame.
Yeah, I'm just happy to finally see, the sort of smaller and mid-cap companies that did have solid balance sheet that we always talk about.
Yeah.
They're catching a bid, so I'm a happy man. It's like the very first time I started investing because that's all I knew, right? So I'm happy to finally see those valuations sort of re-rating.
Yes, I just need City Lodge and Super Group and a few others to fly.
Super Group always actually comes back. It's
Yeah.
the City Lodge, I'm not sure. All the best.
It'll come. It'll come. Barlow World issued a mixed 11-month trading update, but I can't help feeling the market is more interested in that self-disclosure to US authorities around possible sanctions busting. And of course, the long-running cautionary announcement. I don't think, Chantal, that the update from Barlow World should have caught anyone by surprise. We know what's happening in local mining, etc. It was probably in line.
Yeah, we knew that growth was really strong in Mongolia. I think that probably exceeded expectations. We knew that there was...
Excuse me, where?
Mongolia.
That's the joke.
We knew that there were issues in Russia. We knew that there were issues in SA mining. And Ingrain was never going to do well in the current consumer environment. So that wouldn't have been surprising. But the market's not going to mark them up while there's this Russian story hanging over them. And I think that the cautionary could be value enhancing. It's either related to, I think it's probably related to a big sale or disposal.
All those Saudi Arabians.
Or someone looking at them.
They've got that company.
It's UAE, not Saudi
30%.
Arabia.
UAE, my bad, the
Yeah.
30% stake.
Yeah, so it could be something like that. There could be an offer coming through, but the Russian thing is going to taint that offer as well. So I'm trading carefully at the moment around Barlow World.
Right.
I like Barlow World.
Ah.
It's one of those industrials that's always done me good, so I can't be complaining.
You won't be knocking it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Moneyweb reported that Discovery's remuneration for its top 5 tops 205 million. So Adrian Gore got 30 and Hilton Kona, CEO of Discovery Bank, got 50 million, half his performance bonus. I don't know, maybe we jaded. Is this a lot of money?
So much money.
We want some money.
It is so much money.
Look, he did get, the Discovery Bank is at their 1 million target 2 years early.
So, the KPIs are there, right? And the KPIs are expressed.
Are they stretched?
Well, because 1 million
does.
customers, they got there early. So, I don't know. It's a lot of money. Let's leave it at that. Finally, who hasn't taken a parent's car for a joyride? No? Well, okay. But 2 teenagers in New York took joyriding to a whole new level when they managed to board an unoccupied train parked at Briarwood substation in Queens just after midnight. Somehow they got it running, but it didn't last long as they crashed into another parked train. A 17-year-old girl wearing a pink shower cap has been arrested while her accomplice remains on the run, or maybe a train ride. I got to say, man, when I was 17, it never occurred to me to steal a train.
Never. Never a train.
See what YouTube is doing? It's giving you all the knobs to press and things to do.
You know how to drive it. I thought you were going to say that you'd stolen a train.
YouTube just it gives you so much access, so much power in your hands.
False confidence.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You'll be able to drive
The
a
mistake they
plane.
made is a train behind them, they crashed in. But we need to leave it there. Brad, Chantal, thank you very much. Everyone out there, have a great evening and an even grander weekend.